Hey guys, Bowie here, and today we're talking about things I've learned with Arteezy's Sven. Before I start the video though, I just want to remind you guys that watching tons of replays to make these guides for you take a lot of time. And so if you learn something new and you actually enjoy the content, make sure to like, to comment, and to hit that bell button and subscribe because it really helps the video to get recommended to more people. Thanks, and let's get going. The hero got a fair amount of changes, so my goal here is to explain how they affect the playstyle of the hero by following Arteezy's and Moose Sven during a couple of games. Basically, Sven is just not a great laner. He isn't, as bad as a hero like Spectre, but he's nowhere near a Gyrocopter or Nursa in terms of kill potential. On top of that, he actually got a nerf. His ult doesn't give him strength anymore, which at level 6 was 120 extra HP and a lot of extra damage. Yes, they compensated that with more damage on the ult, but this means that in terms of fighting, remember he doesn't have that extra HP, this hero is pretty meh, especially when you consider you're not gonna go treads anymore. In the last patch, Sven with treads and ult at level 6 was actually a formidable hero. It was a great power spike. But that's not the case. What they did with this hero is actually increase his move speed and the time his ult is up. And so, he is way more of a farmer than before. This is why Midas and Phase Boots are the items every pro player is getting, because you have a longer duration ult. You just want to pop it and clear jungle camps, kind of like a Terrorblade with Metamorphosis will do. The armor from Phase and the move speed boost active allows you to clear a ton of camps and accelerate in the early game. And that's pretty much why these items are good. That's the early game summary of how Sven is being played, but we didn't address lanes yet. In this game, for instance, Arteezy lanes versus Tiny. Yeah, he has good base damage, but he's in a great laner, and on top of that, he has a support Pudge. This is a really bad and weak lane, and that allows him to pretty much get Phase Boots into Midas without having to worry too much about anything. But obviously, not all lanes are like that. Watch this game. Moose playing Sven versus a Legion Phoenix lane. Not only attack speed slow destroys Sven's early game, Legion trades really well versus him, and in this matchup he bought a lot of mangoes, he skipped cleave up to level 4, and pretty much just uses his stun to get the range creep since he couldn't afford to be greedy to do anything in the lane, honestly. Another interesting example is this other game, where Moo has to swap lanes because the enemy Ursa went to the offlane, and that is a terrible matchup for Sven. But in the bottom lane, he also faced a pretty hard one. Grandma plus Tusk is really deadly, and in the offlane, it's much harder for Sven to have free farm in comparison to the safe lane. And so, in this game, before he gets the Midas, he went for Bracer and Phase Boots as well. What surprised me the most about the games I've watched is how far behind Sven was in all games. 2 of the 3 games were 12k gold comebacks, and Sven, in the past, was usually a hero that had this early power spike but struggled a lot to come back from a hard game because he just didn't scale as much, but the changes to the ult duration, the extra damage, and some item changes now allow for this hero to actually be a late game beast. His win rate is rocking. In this game, you can see how many camps Sven is able to farm with the ult and how the move speed really increases how far he can go without losing lane creeps. This means that, while he can still benefit greatly from stacks, he can just accelerate faster by reaching a lot of camps. You don't need to get that 3-4 ancient camp to start getting big. Now, I think the question a lot of people have in their heads is, why are Svens building Halberd so much? And if you didn't have that question in your head, you probably have it now. The item makes no sense on Sven, you might think. And the reason Svens are going Halberd is that Sven is not a great matchup against a lot of the popular heroes of the patch. Sven versus Void, for instance, is an awful matchup. It's just hard for heroes that don't bash to man up versus bash heroes. So Halberd is one of the few ways Sven can do something. But it's not only about the disarm. You have to remember that God Strength now gives way more bonus damage for each point of strength, meaning strength items are really cool on this bad boy, and Halberd gives 20 strength, which gives him 36 extra damage on top of the item when he ults, not counting the evasion, the lifesteal amp. Remember that you do have a level 15 talent. Echo Saber, for instance, is pretty good on Sven, but against heroes like Void and Troll and Ursa, it's just a waste of time to get it. At least before Halberd or before BKB, before you can actually do anything, since you do need the item to do stuff. You also have a mana regen talent at level 10, an incredible mana regen talent, by the way, 2 times the mana regen of Echo Saber. So you can get away with skipping Echo Saber when you don't have to. So let's check the itemization in a couple of different games. In that Phoenix versus LC game, Mu actually goes Sanj BKB into Halberd. The Halberd is great, but Fire Spirits completely shuts down Sven at this stage. There's actually no item besides BKB that he can get to fight, and that's really the summary of what I wanted to convey. In this day and age, playing Dota without joining fights is just dumb because it's harder. Your job as a carry in 727B is to carry the game and scale, but you need to be in the game for you to carry it. The fight right here is the perfect example of BKB and Halberd being the items Mu needed. LC mans up on him, Phoenix shows up with Egg, and not only BKB protects him enough to kill the Egg, but the disarm allows him to disengage away from Void after also killing the Legion Commander and then even going back for a Witch Doctor. In this other game, Sven loses barracks at 20 minutes, and he was going for a very similar build, Halberd BKB, but because Radiant's position 1 and 2 heroes only deal physical damage, he gets an AC instead. The armor, evasion, and disarm combined with the minus armor that now makes your cleave better allows them to take this fight since Ursa cannot jump Sven anymore. He has to ignore him because of the Halberd. Basically, the item is Sven's only answer to heavy physical damage or bashers. That also makes more sense on him now. The strength is even more valuable and, status resistance never hurts. In that game versus a tiny lane, Arteezy actually gets Echo Saber even though he is against a Slark plus Razor, two heroes that, deal physical damage that Sven also hates. But the difference here is he had a free lane. Echo Saber is a better farming item than Sanj, but just to reiterate how great the mana regen talent on this hero is, he still learns it even when he already has the mana regen from Echo Saber, because once you get that talent and the lifesteal 1 at level 15, it means you never have to go base since you have free replenishment of HP and mana. That said, this in my opinion was a pretty okay Halberd game. The problem is Arteezy really needs Linken's versus Shadow Demon and Razor. SD has too much cast range on his ult, and that annoying Dispel and Slow just trashes Sven, and there's also Static Link from Razor that makes your life awful. In fact, this game was truly an awful Sven game, but because his lane was free and he had the chance to get a Linken's to solve those bigger problems, he was fine, but in a rougher scenario versus the same draft, Halberd could have been his only option of, from lining for his team. Another thing worth talking about is the Blink Dagger he gets. While Silver Edge is amazing and he does use Echo Saber, it costs much more than Blink, and it would delay his Linken's a little bit, so that's probably why Arteezy gets it, but that doesn't mean Silver Edge is bad in this hero. In fact, he did go for it in the only other Sven game I saw him play, and Mu also got it a lot of times, so don't be afraid to get Silver Edge when, you just want to upgrade that Echo Saber into something else.
I want to leave, man. I actually can't take how bad everything is.
Guys, I'm sorry for interrupting the guide, but I have a really cool update I'm excited to talk about. You ever felt like Arteezy playing a game?
Why do I get these players like the CM? Look, I click on him now and I just look at his items. I don't understand.
Imagine how he would feel if he also picked bad heroes on top of everything else. I'm here to tell you that besides the 20-minute weekly analysis I'm dropping in my Patreon to help you pick your heroes better during patch 727, I'm also offering a 20-page PDF file that includes what, in my opinion, are the best heroes of the patch for each position, and that PDF is going to be updated weekly. I know there are services that tell you what to pick, but they use global win rates that are usually quite misleading, and they don't account for lanes and roles, and very often can cause more harm than good. So check it out if it interests you. Just an update, I want to tell you guys that I already updated the files for 727B, all the talent changes, but we're still pretty early into the patch, so it's hard to remove a hero or add a hero without seeing how it's going to fare. But as soon as that happens, next Thursday, there are going to be heroes in the PDF files and out. I am really excited to keep updating this for you guys. We had a lot of good feedback and responses. Well, thank you for watching, commenting, and subscribing. As you guys know, these types of videos take a lot of research, so if you learned something new, please make sure to recommend this video for your friends, make sure to like and subscribe, hit that bell so the video gets recommended to you. If you want a more premium experience than my meta guides, you can DM me on Twitter to get the rates for my coaching. In case you just got back to Dota because of COVID-19 or the compendium, make sure to hit our Discord server. There's a lot of cool people there. You might find someone to play pubs with you in case you don't like doing that by yourself. Finally, if you want to see me play or cast, follow me on Twitch. And in case the weekly meta guides is not something you care about, but you still want to help with the channel, check the other tiers in my Patreon. There might be something that interests you there. Thank you for watching, have a good one and bye.